There exists a category of creatures in this world. They have been discovered by a few people, but their existence remains unconfirmed. We collectively refer to these creatures as unidentified mysterious animals. Hello everyone and welcome to the World in 10 Minutes series. Today's topic is living dinosaurs, a unique category in cryptozoology. This term refers to alleged surviving prehistoric species that have been sighted in certain regions or passed down as legends among indigenous people. Although the modern academic community widely agrees that after the mass extinction of dinosaurs due to the asteroid impact, only birds and mammals survived, becoming the dominant species of the Cenozoic era. A series of large creature sightings and written records by pioneering explorers in the 20th century raised suspicions. Could some individual prehistoric creatures or groups have survived to the present day in exceptional natural environments? Today, I want to share with you one such creature that caused a massive stir in the mid-20th century, the Kasai Rex. The Kasai region is the province in the southwestern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, named after the Kasai River, a tributary of the Congo River. Due to its complex history and political factors, the administrative divisions of Kasai have changed several times, but I won't go into detail about that here. Speaking of Kasai, many of you may recall the names Kasai Rex or Kasai Tyrannosaurus, which have left a lasting impression. As a friend of mine who is passionate about paleontology once said, the thought of a possibly living giant carnivorous theropod dinosaur is enough to leave anyone deeply intrigued. The Kasai Rex is generally described as a giant bipedal reptile about 13 meters long, or sometimes as a massive carnivore resembling a Tyrannosaurus rex. The most commonly known account of this creature, found on the internet and in many media outlets, dates back to 1932. A Swedish hunter named John Johnson, accompanied by a servant, was traveling in the Kasai River Valley while vacationing in Congo. During their journey, they encountered a rhinoceros. As they carefully tried to avoid it and move forward, a massive creature suddenly burst out of the nearby bushes. The servant, overwhelmed with fear, fled the scene and Johnson fainted on the spot. When he slowly regained consciousness, he was horrified to see the massive creature devouring the rhinoceros's carcass. He described the creature as being mostly red with black stripes, having a long snout and dense, sharp teeth. Its legs were thick, like those of a lion, seemingly built for speed. Johnson believed the 13-meter-long creature was a Tyrannosaurus rex. For exploration activities like the ones mentioned, a reliable means of transportation is indispensable. Regarding the summary description above, I have not found specific and reliable sources for every detail. However, at least this particular report was indeed documented in print. On March 8, 1932, an article titled "Strange Creature Discovered in the Congo's Kasai Valley" was published in the Rhodesia Adventurers Gazette. The article mentioned that Swedish adventurer and hunter John Johnson encountered an unknown large beast in the Kasai region of the Congo before returning to Rhodesia. To make it more readable, I have refined some parts of the stiff original translation. Here's the account in his original words. On February 16th, my gun-bearer assistant and I went hunting. We only carried a Winchester rifle for small game hunting and did not expect to encounter anything large. At 2 p.m., we arrived at the Kasai Valley and still hadn't spotted any prey. Just as we descended near a waterhole, the boy beside me suddenly shouted, "Elephant!" Behind the dense jungle, two massive figures seemed to be partially obscured. It wasn't until we were about 50 yards away from them that I saw something utterly incredible. It was a monster, approximately 16 yards long, with the head and tail of a lizard. I closed my eyes and reopened them, but there was no doubt the creature was still there. The boy accompanying me cowered in the grass, sobbing. My hunter's fervor began to waver and my teeth chattered in fear. I had to clench them tightly 3 times to stop. Suddenly, the creature disappeared from sight with astonishing speed. It took me a while to regain my composure. The boy beside me was crying and praying. I helped him up and pushed him along, urging him to follow me back home. On our way, we had to cross a vast marsh. My limbs, still paralyzed from earlier fear, moved sluggishly, so we progressed slowly. Yet, it was in this marsh that we encountered the giant lizard again. It was tearing apart the corpse of a dead rhinoceros, its body covered in mud. At this moment, we were only 25 yards away from it. It was terrifying. The boy holding my rifle panicked and fled, leaving me alone. I stood still, not daring to move. Then I remembered my camera. I could hear the crunching sound of the rhinoceros's bones being chewed in the lizard's jaws. As I pressed the shutter to capture the monster, it suddenly leapt into the deep water and vanished. My nerves remained taut, and I blacked out, collapsing exhausted into the bushes. What struck me most about this animal was its incredible speed. When I finally returned to camp, I must have looked like a madman. The camp's owner, Metcalf, said that I approached him, waving my camera foolishly and making incomprehensible sounds. I dare say he was right. I had a fever that lasted for 8 days, during which I was almost always in a semi-comatose state. The above constitutes the initial report about this incident. Here I'll attach the 3 widely circulated photos on the internet, allegedly taken by Johnson, showing the so-called giant lizard. The photos depict a creature seemingly roaring with its mouth wide open, a being standing over a rhinoceros carcass, a creature resembling a Tyrannosaurus rex feasting on the rhinoceros. I will analyze these photos for you later. Now let's continue with the story. On January 15, 1933, a second related report appeared in the Rhodesia Adventurers Gazette. The article stated that nearly a year had passed and numerous hunters and explorers had attempted to locate the giant lizard Johnson described. However, none had found definitive evidence proving the creature's existence. This did not dampen the hunters' enthusiasm. Meanwhile, eyewitness John Johnson gave a second interview in Cape Town, reaffirming his earlier claims. He insisted that the creature was red with black stripes, had a long snout and numerous teeth. Its legs were thick, resembling those of a lion, designed for speed. He believed the creature was no different from Tyrannosaurus rex and could have been as long as 43 feet. Considering this information, the Rhodesia Adventurers Gazette expressed confidence in naming the creature the Kasai rex. It was from this report that the name Kasai rex began spreading worldwide, inspiring more people to venture into the mysterious Congo rainforest in hopes of finding this alleged living theropod dinosaur. The second widely circulated sighting took place in this context. In early 1933, a team of 5 hunters ventured into the Kasai Valley, searching for the creature named Kasai rex by the newspapers. They believed Johnson's original encounter might have stemmed from a misidentification of a giant crocodile. The skin of such a creature could fetch a great price. However, as they reached the Kasai Valley and crossed the swamp Johnson had marked, one hunter suddenly noticed, to his horror, a massive red tail resembling that of a giant water python sliding into the lake. The atmosphere instantly grew tense. As they drew their weapons, a sudden surge of water erupted on their left side. A red saw-like tail emerged from the water, striking one hunter and knocking him into the lake. The remaining 4 hunters immediately opened fire on the red mass, but the creature quickly disappeared beneath the water. All they could see were ripples spreading across the surface. The attacked hunter had a fractured arm. He slowly returned to his companions. At that moment, a deafening roar echoed from the water's edge, urging them to move quickly. A massive creature appeared directly in front of them, emerging from the water on their right side, only to submerge again on their left. The hunters hid behind rocks, waiting until the creature left before escaping the area. The final reported incident describes Robert Henderson, a zoologist and hunter, traveling to the Kasai Valley in August 1951. Accompanied by 5 locals, he ventured across the Kasai River, hoping to hunt rarer and more exotic species. 6 days later, when they failed to return to the village at the agreed time, concern grew. The river had risen significantly due to continuous heavy rain, so the villagers waited a few more days. When the group still did not return, the village, in coordination with the military, sent a 15-person team across the river to search for Henderson. The next day, they discovered the initial camp of the group. It was located in a desolate valley with almost no signs of life in the surroundings. On the morning of the 3rd day, as they expanded their search, they encountered a horrific scene, a completely destroyed temporary campsite. About 10 meters from the camp, the remains of the group's members were scattered everywhere in a state of utter devastation. Only Henderson's forearm and palm were recovered. Authorities proposed 2 possible plausible conclusions. The group might have fallen victim to poachers, which was not uncommon during that era. They could have been attacked by carnivorous animals, as some of the bodies showed bite marks. Regardless of the cause, Henderson's shotgun showed signs of being fired, but no animal carcasses were found nearby. The rescue team noted one peculiar detail. Damage around the camp suggested that a large, heavy creature might have approached the site. To this day, the case remains unresolved. This concludes the known sightings and reports of the Kasai Rex. For decades, opinions on the existence of such a massive creature have been highly divisive, both in academia and the media. British science fiction writer and inventor Arthur C. Clarke expressed his thoughts on the credibility of such incidents in his 1980 book, Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. "I have learned not to doubt the existence of creatures that seem improbable. In this age of advanced imaging technology, any large terrestrial animal must be extremely cunning to avoid detection. The remaining hideouts for such creatures are likely in remote mountain ranges and dense tropical forests. Countless unknown small creatures surely exist, and perhaps some are quite large. However, because locals see their presence as normal, they don't bother to report them." Similarly, some domestic and international media outlets, including early Western magazines, and part of their audience believe that the giant red creature described by Johnson is clearly unlike any known modern species. A living dinosaur seems the most plausible explanation. However, it is important to note that, at least so far, no fossils of Tyrannosauridae species have ever been discovered in Africa. This shifts suspicion toward another giant carnivorous dinosaur, Carcharodontosaurus. Carcharodontosaurus is one of the largest theropod dinosaurs known, estimated to be around 10 to 12.5 meters in length. It lived approximately 100 to 94 million years ago during the late Cretaceous Cenomanian stage in North Africa. It was named for its shark-like teeth, which resembled those of the great white shark. Like most other theropod dinosaurs, it had short forelimbs but exceptionally strong, muscular hind legs and a long tail used for balance. The idea of still living massive carnivorous dinosaur is indeed fascinating. However, many, including cryptozoologists, believe that the Kasai Rex incident is a chain of interlinked fabrications. Now let's revisit the three crucial photos. According to Belgian cryptozoologist Professor Bernard Holvermans, the Rhodesia Adventurers Gazette once published a photo from a German newspaper allegedly showing the creature consuming either a rhinoceros or hippopotamus. The poor quality of the photo made it impossible to identify the prey. Holvermans believed the image was completely fake, claiming it depicted a Komodo dragon clumsily transplanted into an African swamp scene. The creature appeared to perch on the carcass of a hippo or rhino like a ballerina, making it seem enormous. Upon close examination, the creature's outline was surrounded by a faint halo, indicating clear signs of cut-and-paste manipulation. Additionally, the way the creature interacted with the object looked unnatural, and the spliced composition was blatantly obvious. Regarding this photo, forgive my bluntness, but even Ebb, the narrator, took quite a long time to figure out its intended content when they first saw it. The depiction of the T-Rex and the rhinoceros on the ground undoubtedly aligns with Johnson's description of the incident. British cryptozoologist Richard Freeman once raised doubts about this photo in his blog. He believed the T-Rex in the image looks like it came from a stop-motion animation film, making modern forgery a strong possibility. However, Freeman couldn't find a definitive source for the photo. He passed the matter to dinosaur expert Alan Friswell at the British Fortean Zoology Centre. Friswell published his investigation results on March 30th, 2010. As it turns out, the photo was indeed a composite created by an image editor with the pseudonym Finbar. The T-Rex model was made by Finbar's collaborator Ari Pollier, inspired by the American paleo artist Charles Knight's 1904 artwork, The Lost World of Allosaurus. Knight's painting depicts an Allosaurus feeding on the remains of a Brontosaurus. When the photo is mirrored, it becomes evident how similar it is to the original artwork, so the credibility of the T-Rex photo is highly questionable. However, I must clarify that while the two widely circulated images have drawn drawn more attention, the only photo included in the original report was actually a blurry image of a lizard-like creature with stripes. Although many media outlets compare it to the Komodo dragon, the blurriness of the photo combined with the lack of identifiable features like limbs or a tail makes it impossible to confirm the creature's species. Personally, I also believe that much of the Kasai Rex story lacks critical credibility. First, I've mentioned in previous works that the Rhodesia Adventurers Gazette maintains strict archival standards. With my current access, I've been unable to locate the original reports, especially the one from 1933. All I could find was a brief summary. This may explain why many media outlets mistakenly identified this blurry photo as Johnson's first documented image. Even for this photo, I could not trace its reported origin. Cryptozoologist Dr. Carl Schuker once commented that the dinosaur theory originated from a staff member named Grappler at the Rhodesia Adventurers Gazette. Grappler claimed that a Cologne newspaper described the photos as unclear but suggested they revealed a significant discovery. Johnson has stumbled upon a unique specimen of the dinosaur family which must have lived thousands of years ago. This statement reinforced the dinosaur theory. When revisiting the original reports in the Rhodesia Adventurers Gazette, it becomes clear that Johnson never explicitly mentioned the creature resembling a T-Rex. Even in the 1933 follow-up interview, the T-Rex comparison wasn't attributed to Johnson but rather inferred by editors. For example, the creature's length was described as 16 yards in Johnson's 1932 account but was exaggerated to 43 feet in 1933, a difference of nearly 1.5 meters. This inconsistency shows the early media did not handle the story rigorously. On this note, I must also share that I could not find concrete sources for the follow-up reports. For instance, almost all online sources mention that one member of the 1933 hunting party was a notorious ivory smuggler. After thorough research into merchants of that era, I found no records of any such expedition to Kasai in 1933. As for Robert Henderson, the protagonist of the third event, there are many individuals with the same name. However, I could not locate a zoologist who died in 1951 matching the description. Nearly all keywords about Henderson point to a science fiction novel titled The Legend of Kasai Rex. Since the book has not entered the public domain, I could not obtain more detailed information. In summary, the likelihood that the entire Kasai Rex incident is fabricated remains quite high. Today, the story is often referred to as the Kasai Rex hoax. That said, nothing is absolute. I believe the only possibility lies in Johnson's original report, where he described a 14.6-meter long lizard and provided a blurry photographic record. Although it is difficult to verify specific details about John Johnson, no one can entirely rule out the chance that a large, undiscovered species of lizard may inhabit the inaccessible depths of the primeval rainforest. After all, the unknown always exceeds the known, and that is the allure of unidentified mysterious animals. That's all for this episode. Thank you for watching.